Been there since. Now, how'd I do?
Oh, very good, very good.
Time's kind of running out.
Well, I'll let you go there in just a second. Tell us, going back to Fort Dodge, how did you get into the Air Force and how did you learn to fly?
Oh, that should be good. I'll go along with this.
You will.
Yeah, I'll go along with this.
Well, I was going to junior college in Fort Dodge in 1939. They started a flying program called CAP, Civilian Pilot Training, and I learned to fly out the old Eno Airport in the Piper Club. I got 35 hours there. Next year I went to Iowa State as a junior, and they had an advanced program there. Flew a Waco twin-wing Waco airplane. And all I can remember about that is I had no car, I had no bike, and I took this course during the winter, and I used to walk 4 miles out to the airport and 4 miles back from the airport in absolute dark. Cold, miserable.
Winter.
Yeah, winter.
It's not over yet.
But, I am. And when I was the end of that college year, the Navy called for pilots, and I applied to the Navy, and I applied to the Air Force, or the Air Corps in those days. The Air Corps came in, went down, took my physical, and about a week later the Navy came in. I could have either one of them. I took the Air Corps. And that was about it. Went out to King City, California in 1941. Flew, I can't even remember the old airplane, what kind of a little low-wing airplane. PT-21 is what they call them. And up to what was that place there?
King City.
No, King City's where I started, and then went up to San Francisco.
Oh, Moffett.
Moffett Air Force Base. I took secondary there, and PT-13, AT-13, Advanced Training 13. And on to Stockton, California for the AT-6. And then back to Victoria, Texas to instruct in the AT-6 and start flying fighters. And about after a year there in 1943, early 43, I was assigned to B-24s at Fort Worth, Texas. Went to there and formed a crew up in Boise, Idaho. And got a crew in Pocatello. And the crew was sent to Muroc, California for final training, and I was taken out of the crew and made a flight instructor, and I stayed there until I went over to Wigton in early 1945. And that was about it. Came back in July and got out of the Air Force and went back to Fort Dodge, Iowa.
How many bombing missions did you fly?
None. I was on staff.
Did you fly any bombing mission?
Oh, not during the war. Flew missions after the war was over, reconnaissance type thing, but never bombing. Nope.
And then when you came back, you at that point left the Air Force, right? For a while?
Sure did. Stayed and went to the Iowa National Guard, and checked out the P-51s, and flew those for about 3 years. And recalled in 1951 after going down to Maxwell Field in Alabama, where I went to command and staff school, and got promoted in the Guard to Major. Went up from there.
Now, what kind of business was your father in?
Oh, he was a general contractor. I worked for him from the time I was about 12 years old until I was about 26. After the war, I worked with him for a couple of years. He built a good number of the houses in Fort Dodge, Iowa. And I was a flunky. Used to carry blocks, lumber, do the digging. Got all at 25 cents an hour.
He built more than houses, but he built commercial buildings.
He built commercial buildings. But not many of them. Mainly he was in the building of the houses. And, he probably had 100 houses in Fort Dodge that he built. All of them out of cement block. He was a cement block man. He didn't build on them like most people.
You built every single house the same, or were they all different?
Well, of course they were all different.
Well, they
Basically.
aren't that way anymore.
Well, I know. But, no, there was no two-house
Well,
difference.
they
were
didn't
not.
have architect, he didn't have architect draw his houses, he just built them.
I thought I wanted to be an architect, and that's what I went to Iowa State to be. The war came along, probably for the better, because my grades weren't that good until after the war. And that's about it.
Well, you didn't tell me
Retired.
that after you retired, you went back to the University of Arizona and got a degree.
Oh, I know that. They knew that.
Well, you didn't tell that to the camera.
We haven't got that far yet, Wanda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll save that for later.
Okay.
Thank